disrespect Max, you're not gonna lay a glove on me. And even if you do lay a glove on me, I'm gonna laugh in your face. It's another world here against me, and it's another world at this weight. I'm gonna come out of this bout unscathed and in all glory.
We talk about ancestors, we talk about warriors, bro. I'm a Hawaiian warrior, brother. I'm gonna flick your face over and over again, brother. I already know this, brother.
Conor McGregor, round 1 knockout. That power doesn't leave. Like, he needs one shot and it can be over, so I'm more favouring towards a McGregor win, to be honest. He's beat Max Holloway before. Max Holloway, in my opinion, really, really good fighter. One of the best ever. Didn't look great in his last fight. Did not look great against Charles Oliveira at all. His timing is definitely going to be better because he's been fighting way more regular than McGregor. Now, I would favour more towards McGregor winning, to be honest. Conor McGregor, round 1 knockout. He's going to land a big left bomber on him, I think.
Like, will it, you know, is it as easy as that? Or how, like, I know you just kind of described it, but how did you get that confidence back to walk in there and face a guy like Max Holloway on Saturday?
Man, I don't know. It's above, brother. It's divine. It's not me. It's above. That's how I feel with it. I could question my own self with that also, but I have it. I'm confident, and I'm gonna showcase it. I love this arena. I love fight night, fight week, and God willing, I'm back here next week and the week after. How many weeks is in a year? 54. There you go. You know, I could fight every week if it's a go. You know, before the injury, I had maybe 3 within the year. People don't recall that. And yeah, now there you go. We plan on getting busy here.
Can we get back to that? Or will even the business, will the fight business allow it when you almost get too big to fight that frequently, right? Or can we get back to that level of activity?
I wish for it. I wish for it. So if I'm the man in the arena, right? I'm the one that's making the walk. So if I'm the one who's pushing for it and campaigning for it, I'm sure that is the case. Now, I've said my piece with the Ultimate Fighting Championship and their staging of my bouts. And they've said their piece, and you know it's kind of fallen on.
It's a rematch. He has the best chance against this Max than he could have had, in my opinion. And the reason I say that is because at least Max is off a loss. He's not got this crazy momentum. The difference, though, is as long as Max, which I do believe he has this mentality, he's got a short memory, like let that fight go. Kind of like what Nate Diaz did. He said, yeah, I fought one of the baddest dudes on earth, and so what? I lost. That doesn't make me a loser. As long as Max can mentally do that, he'll be okay. But look at these shots of Conor. These knockouts that Conor does, he usually times the right hand, and he comes over the top of it with his left hand, and he's very accurate. That's what makes Conor dangerous, in my opinion, isn't just the power, but also his accuracy with the power.
It's just another fight. It's just another fight for me, you know. It's big. Every time there's a Conor McGregor fight, it's big. We're in Las Vegas. We're fight capital, you know. International Fight Week, even more crazy. The heat is on. The heat is going to be even more on come Saturday night.
Does it get your blood pumping, the buzz that Conor brings to this sport now that you're matched up against him one again? Does any side of that entertain you and get you fired up knowing that it's going to be the biggest story in sports this week?
Oh, for sure. I'm excited, you know. We got other big events going on, you know. You got the World Cup going on, and still people are talking about Holloway versus McGregor too. So at the end of the day, it's a great position.
I think if Conor wins, it'll have to be in the first 2 rounds. If it goes past there, Max will probably take over.
It's a huge fight. The huge interrogation is Conor. He hasn't been fighting since a long time. I just do believe that the more time the fight will last, the better it will be for Max Holloway.
I think Max will probably win just because I think that the conditioning is going to be a big deal, and then not fighting for so long is going to be a big deal.
I got Max Holloway in that fight. Yeah, I think he's. I think the longer the fight goes, it's going to play more into Max's hands.
You want me to get my ass kicked by these guys? I have to see these fools. Do you realize that, right? What if I'm in the locker with one of them and they heard me pick up against them? I just predicted a great fight, man. That's really all.
I've been asked this so many times. I can't give a prediction, you know. I obviously, Conor being half Irish, I want to back Conor, but I also love Max Holloway. I grew up watching him. So I'm just excited to watch that one as a fan.
If Conor doesn't get him out of there like the first 2 rounds, Matt clear decision or TKO in the 4th round?
I grew up watching Conor McGregor. You know what an honor it is to be on the same card as him. He's an OG. He's a legend. So is Max Holloway. As much as I'd love to say Conor, I got to go with Max on this one.
It's hard to say. Like, I'm going to be backing Max because I like him. But I think he gets it done. He's been battle tested a lot. He's been in the game. He's had these 5-round fights. He's had to grind through.
If Conor comes in shape, focused, he's a dangerous man. If anybody can come back after 5 years and put it all together and start winning against the best guys, it's Conor. He's a special individual. Even though he's a horrible person and I don't like him, I got to give props where it's due. He has some God-given gifts.
24 hours from now, one of the most debated fights in recent UFC history gets settled inside the octagon, and the experts have finally drawn their lines in the sand. The predictions are in. Not all of them agree, but what almost every analyst, fighter, and commentator who has weighed in on this fight has acknowledged is the same uncomfortable truth. Nobody actually knows which version of Conor McGregor shows up tomorrow night, and that single variable is the reason this fight is so difficult to call, and why the combat sports world cannot look away. McGregor hasn't fought professionally in 5 years. 5 years. Think about what that means in a sport where timing, reflexes, and ring sharpness can deteriorate in a matter of months. He has lost 3 of his last 4 bouts, with his most recent appearance ending in a TKO loss to Dustin Poirier at UFC 264 back in July 2021, and even that night, things had started to unravel before his leg gave out. The version of McGregor that once dismantled Jose Aldo in 13 seconds feels like a different era entirely, and yet, here we are, one day out. The whole sport is watching. Max Holloway, on the other hand, never stopped. Holloway has never stopped being an elite fighter. That's not fan bias. That's the assessment coming from trading desks, odds makers, and people who study this sport for a living. He holds the UFC record for most significant strikes landed with 3,681, and the most strikes landed in title fights with 1,414. These aren't just impressive statistics. They're the fingerprints of a man who has been in more deep water, more championship rounds, more high-pressure exchanges than almost anyone in the sport's history. While McGregor was absent, Holloway kept fighting elite competition and kept building his legacy. So what are experts actually saying heading into fight night? The fighters picking Holloway all say pretty much the same thing. You can't get around 5 years away from the cage. That absence doesn't just affect conditioning, it affects reaction time, distance management, the ability to adjust mid-round when things aren't going your way. Daniel Cormier put it plainly, "You don't get better at something by not doing it," Cormier said. He gave McGregor credit for motivation and preparation, but his lean is clear. When a man who has trained alongside champions for decades says something that direct, it deserves weight. Jorge Masvidal offered one of the most vivid descriptions of the situation, comparing it to a Ferrari against a Honda Civic, except the Ferrari has a quarter tank of gas. That framing captures the core tension of this fight perfectly. Nobody is questioning whether McGregor has the tools. The question is whether those tools still fire the way they once did after this long a layoff, and whether his gas tank, which was already scrutinized even at his peak, can sustain what a 5-round welterweight fight against Holloway is going to demand. Because Holloway doesn't let fights breathe. He averages close to 15 significant strikes thrown per minute and lands nearly 7 per minute. That isn't a volume that allows an opponent to recover, reset, or find a rhythm. Every time McGregor wants to pause, Holloway will be pressing forward and accumulating damage. The longer the fight goes, the more that pace becomes a weapon, not just physically, but psychologically. Most analysts expect Holloway's finishing shot to come after the midpoint of the fight. The reasoning is straightforward. If McGregor can't close the show early, the structural advantages shift entirely toward Holloway as the rounds wear on. McGregor has not landed a single takedown in his past 11 fights, which means if the left hand doesn't connect cleanly, his offensive options become extremely limited. His wrestling, which was actually a factor back in 2013, has essentially disappeared from his game entirely. That first fight, by the way, is something the experts want fans to discard completely. Both men were in the early stages of their UFC careers, competing at featherweight, and the dynamics of that matchup bear almost no resemblance to what this rematch represents. It's a different weight class, a different era, and 2 completely different fighters in terms of development, damage taken, and experience. Using 2013 as a template for tomorrow is a mistake, and yet, there are voices on the other side of this argument. Not many, but credible ones. Tom Aspinall, the current heavyweight champion, made the boldest call of any active fighter. He likes McGregor by first-round knockout. Power doesn't leave. He just needs one shot, and it can be over. Aspinall Aspinall said. That's not a naive take. That's a recognition of something real. McGregor's left hand has ended fights at every level against every quality of opponent. It doesn't require cardio. It doesn't require 5 rounds. It requires one clean moment, and McGregor has always been exceptionally skilled at creating those moments. Ian Machado Gary, who has actually sparred with McGregor during this training camp, described the matchup as Holloway being an Uzi and McGregor being a shotgun. Different weapons, different intentions. One overwhelming with volume, the other waiting for one defining shot. The question is whether the shotgun gets that shot before the Uzi makes the night too long. Fight Matrix gives McGregor a 30% chance of winning by KO or TKO. That's not small. In a sport where one punch can redirect everything, 30% is not a number you dismiss. It's the reason the odds have been moving. Holloway opened at -400 when the fight was announced and has since dropped to around -240, with McGregor now sitting at +180. That movement reflects exactly what the sharper end of the betting market thinks. This fight isn't as lopsided as the initial reaction suggested. But here's the part that doesn't get discussed enough. Holloway is not without his own recent struggles. He lost by unanimous decision to Charles Oliveira at UFC 326 this past March, a fight that raised real questions about his chin and his ability to sustain elite-level output when opponents can scramble and neutralize his offense. Alexander Volkanovski, who has fought Holloway 3 times for 75 total rounds, is picking Max to win, but he specifically warned Holloway not to simply walk forward throwing volume the way he used to. That's notable. The man who knows Holloway better than any other fighter in the world is cautioning him about his own default game plan. McGregor turns 38 years old 2 days after the fight. That's not a detail you gloss over. Athleticism, reaction speed, the ability to absorb punishment, all of it shifts after a certain age. But fighting intelligence doesn't always decline at the same rate. And McGregor has always been more than physical. His ability to read pressure, to bait opponents into positions, to impose his pace in the early rounds, those are skills that live in the mind as much as the body. One thing McGregor has consistently done throughout his career is surprise people. Against Cerrone, he introduced shoulder strikes as an early offensive tool. Against Poirier in their first fight, his footwork and distance control were textbook. We haven't seen him fight in years, which means Holloway hasn't seen this version of him either. That cuts both ways. McGregor's preparation is a mystery, but so is whatever he's developed over 5 years of training. The consensus among most expert voices is clear. Holloway's pace, his volume, and his continuity as an active fighter give him the structural advantage in this fight. Most serious analysts are landing on Holloway to win, likely by stoppage in the middle or later rounds, with the caveat that McGregor's left hand makes the first round genuinely dangerous. That is the final picture heading into UFC 329. Holloway as the logical choice, McGregor as the live underdog with a puncher's chance that cannot be dismissed. Tomorrow night, we find out which argument was right. The real question isn't just who wins, it's what this fight tells us about where both men stand in 2026. If McGregor finds a way to win, it changes everything. His legacy, the conversation around his layoff, and what the UFC does with him next. If Holloway dominates, it closes a chapter permanently. Either outcome carries serious weight. What do you believe? Does McGregor's left hand still carry enough to solve this problem in one shot, or has time finally caught up with the notorious? Drop your call in the comments, because tomorrow, the talking stops. If you want to be here for the reaction, the breakdown, and every major fight prediction from here on out, subscribe and like the video to stay locked in. This sport doesn't wait.